Hello, folks. So let's talk about electric vehicles, right, in this video. Recently, I think, I'm in Bangalore in Karnataka in India. So Bangalore is like a bit popular city, and Karnataka is a popular state, and India is a popular country, and its population is also pretty high. I wonder, popular population, of course, it's all related. What is more popular, anyways, majority and all. So, so I'm in Bangalore and I can see so many electric vehicles over here. Let's say EVs in short. Right, so electric vehicles, I think it's been there for quite a long time. For example, when I was in high school, basically in 12th grade, 11th, 12th grade, which was the year being, say, 2011 to 2013, right? So basically the mid of 2011 to mid of 2013, I think. So around this time, I remember my friends having EV vehicles. At the time, they were not 18. In India, you need to have a license, and you can get a license only after you're 18. But then they had electric vehicles and they could drive without license because the speed of the electric vehicle was pretty low. I think it was like something like 20 kilometers per hour or 30 kilometers per hour. And you need a driving license only if the speed of the vehicle goes beyond some speed limit. I think probably 50, 60, or 80 kilometers per hour. I don't know. So the max speed of that vehicle was pretty low, and this was basically my friend. I think both my friends were having this EV scooters basically, and they were manufactured by, I think, BSA, which is actually a popular bicycle company in India. I don't know what else they manufacture and make and produce, but they are and they were a big manufacturer of bicycles. It's still pretty popular, like BSA, I think. Ladybird and all is their models only, BSA only, I think. I can't remember exactly, but yeah, of course, BSA cycles are pretty popular among the other cycle manufacturer companies. They're still popular and they were popular also before also. And they also had these EV scooters, right? And then, so this was in 2011, 2013, and this was in Tamil Nadu in Chennai city. Now, actually, in the recent years, at least in Chennai and Tamil Nadu, I've seen a lot of EV vehicles used by the government, for example, for waste collection. So people used to have tricycles and some sort of small, basically mechanical cycles, or sometimes electric motor fitted some cycles where they can actually carry garbage that people put out from their houses and restaurants and whatnot, usually houses, and they carry it all to some central place, right? From where they can actually transport the waste to some other place and then dump it and process it and all that. So instead of that, now they have small auto-like vehicles. Autos are pretty popular kind of vehicles in India. It's called auto rickshaw or auto rickshaw. Autos, they have a small sort of auto which is pretty lightweight, I think, and it's an electric vehicle and it's used by the government, Tamil Nadu government. So basically, the Tamil Nadu, I think, municipal corporation. Basically, people call it as the corporation, so the metro corporation and all that. So they are using it to carry waste, right? So big, baskets, tall baskets, which look like laundry baskets or whatever, of waste carried over. Some 4 or 5 of them carried over. Small vehicles. Let me see if I can actually show you that. But it'll take some time to actually Google search, but they are there, and they have even some audio system where you can actually run some songs, I think. So I can always hear some people playing some songs and going around and fetching garbage and trying to get their work done. They're just cleaning up the city, which is like the hardest, especially in Chennai and even in Bangalore, like cities, right? Where the population is pretty dense for the given area, and especially Bangalore and all. And there's a lot of waste that gets generated by the city, right? Urban areas. So I'm assuming it's the same for like many other cities and towns, which are a bit urban, and especially metro ones, right? Metropolitan cities. Yeah, I mean, Tamil Nadu is using EVs, but I don't see Tamil Nadu government or other people using electric vehicles for, say, something like public transport, for intra-city and intercity, for example, across cities to go from one city to another city and whatnot, to go from one state to another state, and within the city, right? So surely for intra-city they can start off, I think, but I haven't seen that happening. But I do see, for example, once went to Coimbatore and I saw some transportation goods vehicle using a EV vehicle. People call it in Tamil as Kutti Yanai, meaning small elephant. Basically, it can carry a lot and it looks like a small elephant. The size is like a small elephant. And so, yeah, I mean, there are some electric vehicles which are used, not some, many, I think, but I have only seen some being used for transportation. Now, going from Tamil Nadu to Bangalore in Karnataka, so in Bangalore, I see a lot of EV vehicles. So I think, for example, I'm not sure when the boom started, but I do know that even many years ago, say 2, 3 years ago, there was a lot of Yulu, right? Interesting name, YOLO, Yulu, you only live once, and Yulu and all. So they started off giving people, all these electric vehicles, small scooters, very, very small minimalistic scooters, which are powered by batteries. And I mean, if you think about it, it's pretty cool, right? For a time when everyone is having petrol scooters and motorcycles and whatnot, having electric vehicles. So it was pretty minimal. A lot of misuse happened, I think. I think in this industry where you rent out scooters, be it electric vehicles or petrol based, other fuel based vehicles, and also, like, there is diesel and all for cars and autos, and there is CNG based, compressed natural gas based autos and cars and all. But if you look at scooters, I think it's only petrol. I don't think there's a diesel based scooter or a compressed natural gas. At least I don't know of one. Most popular ones are usually just petrol and electric vehicles, right? I don't know about hydrogen ones also, anything. Maybe there are, but I just don't know. Probably they're not popular, and or maybe they're popular and I just don't know. So, but in this industry where they are renting out scooters, two-wheelers, lot of misuse happened, and some companies, for example, the petrol scooter-based renting companies, I think, stopped giving it to consumers, but they started giving it to businesses. So there was no business to consumer in some cases. There was only business to business, right? B2B. For example, giving it to restaurant delivery people, or restaurants where they can give it to the restaurant delivery people, or all these brokerage services like Swiggy, Zomato, so that they can give it to the delivery people and they can use it to deliver food, right? And other stuff, parcels and whatnot. Um, and also, like, all these delivery services, courier services, people can use that and all that, right? Or even other companies who want to just send their servicemen, for example, to work somewhere, and to transport the servicemen, they need something. So they probably rent out the scooters from a company and use it for company purposes instead of providing it at an individual consumer level, right? But then Yulu still worked at consumer level. I think I don't know how they profit a lot, or I don't know if they profit enough or a lot, but they still work. They started off years ago, and they are still in in operations. They're still operating, and they're still popular. And they even have cycles, I think, and they have these scooters. They have different names for it. I think Magic something, I forgot. Right. And apart from Yulu, I think a lot of electric vehicle companies have actually boomed and born in the recent years at least. So many electric vehicle companies. You can actually see a lot of advertisements on TV, online, and you can actually see the popular companies, of course, are there, like Honda. I think Honda's EV is called Vida. They only have that. I don't know if they have variants and whatnot, what are different price ranges and all that. And then there is TVS iQube. I didn't like the looks of it when I saw it initially long ago, but lot of people seem to like it actually, and they consider it pretty good, not just for the looks but for its, I think, performance and stuff. Of course, TVS is a popular company. They're also a very mature company with a lot of vehicles. Their Jupiter and all is pretty popular, I think so. Yeah. And what else? Um, and I think I don't know if Suzuki has one. I mean, Suzuki's Access 125 and all is pretty popular. I don't know if Suzuki has any EV vehicles. And there are a lot of smaller companies. I forgot the names. I'll probably get the names, but so many companies having two-wheelers and even three-wheelers for transportation, or even four-wheelers and whatnot. I don't know whatever they have out there. A lot of it for transportation. For example, I've seen two-wheelers specifically made for transportation. They're pretty long, right? The length. So usually two-wheelers are pretty not that long. Of course, they won't be that wide, but they're not long also. Usually two people can sit on it. But then I'm seeing EV vehicles which are pretty long that many people can sit on it, but usually they're not for many people sitting on it, but instead for transportation. For example, to transport goods, transport, say, water cans and whatnot. So a lot of EV vehicles are being used for transportation of goods. So yeah, I mean, any food item, edible items, or other stuff and whatnot, right? So people are using it for transporting goods and also, of course, for transporting people. So too many EV vehicles these days, being sold to consumers, and also, of course, a lot of B2B also, I think, for stuff like, say, transporting goods and all that. So you can actually see in Bangalore at least so many EV vehicles. For example, you can even see buses, right? Intra-city buses and then intercity buses. So imagine that, right? People talk about range usually in electric vehicles, talking about how um, you have to charge your battery a lot for it to go a lot of range, like for a lot of kilometers, a lot of distance, and then at some point it's going to lose the charge and you need to recharge it again, for it to go the next distance, right? Whatever distance you wanted to go. And these people have buses that go from one city to another city, and which is an electric bus. I don't know if it's a hybrid or completely electric, but I'm seeing buses. For example, Nuego, Nuego was a bus that I recently noticed. And there are more electric buses that I can see for intercity. And intra-city, interestingly, within the city, a lot of Bangalore buses are actually electric vehicles, right? I don't know if I can say that, use the term lot, but I do see a lot of them, right? So these buses are basically made by, so I'm seeing a lot of buses. So say non-electric vehicle buses, I don't know if they use diesel or petrol, but it could be anything, I just don't know. But non-electric vehicle buses, I have seen buses like, say, manufactured by Eicher, Eicher, which is a popular company that I've seen making buses and making trucks and whatnot. The logo is actually of a horse, I think. So Eicher, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, but it's Eicher, Eicher. I think it's an Indian company. I'm not sure though. And then, of course, there must be other companies that make petrol and diesel buses. And then the electric vehicles, right? I have seen Tata making electric vehicles for buses, basically electric buses, electric based buses. I don't know again if it's completely electric, but it does have a green board. So I'm assuming if it has a green board, it's completely electric or hybrid. I don't know, one of these. But you can't hear the engine's noise at all over there because it's an electric engine, electric vehicle. And usually the thing about electric vehicles is you won't hear a lot of noise from the engine, right? The roaring noise of the engine when it's revving up. So that's pretty cool, and it's a pretty smooth ride. You can't hear too much noise from the engine, and it seems pretty lightweight also, which can be a good thing or a bad thing also. I don't know, because some people can consider heavy vehicles to be more sturdy and strong than a lightweight vehicle, which can be considered pretty easy to break or damage, right? So Tata's vehicles, I think they're called a Star EV bus, right? I noticed I think something called Fame on the bus. I think it's a short form. I don't know what it stands for. So Tata is giving away buses, I think renting or probably selling buses to the Bangalore government, basically the Bangalore BMTC, Bangalore, I think Metropolitan Transportation Corporation, I'm not sure, BMTC, basically to the Karnataka government, right? The state government, either renting or selling, I don't know which one, or leasing, basically renting. So, yeah. And then there is one more bus that I notice a lot, which is called Switch, which is actually manufactured. This one is not by Tata, this one is by Ashok Leyland. So by Tata, it's called EV Starbus, Starbus EV, and then by Ashok Leyland, it's called Switch. It's a pink bus if you notice it on Bangalore. Again, it has a green number plate. So I'm guessing it is still again completely EV, and I don't hear any noises in it from the engine. So yeah, I mean it's called Switch, and it's by Ashok Leyland, right? So I've seen these two, one by Ashok Leyland and one by Tata, and I'm assuming there must be more. Um, I mean, for the government or for private at least, right? Again, for private, I've noticed some. I can't remember the name. I think Bharat Benz and all has started creating some. I don't know. So I think Bharat Benz is like a Benz unit in Bharat in India. So yeah, with Mercedes, I think. So I'm not sure though. It's called Bharat Benz. It's a very popular thing in India. And Volvo buses. These two buses are pretty popular. The manufacturers Bharat Benz and Volvo are pretty popular. Volvo is actually an international thing, I believe. Like I've heard a lot of Volvo cars and whatnot in other countries, which are known for its safety. And Volvo as a company is known for its safety. And yeah, I mean, and the Volvo buses are there in India, pretty popular. It's like a luxury bus, a royalty bus. So yeah, I mean, I don't know if there are intercity buses by the Karnataka government which have EV engines and like EV based buses, right? EV like electric buses. I don't know, and I have not noticed this in Tamil Nadu also, right? So pretty cool stuff. A lot of electric vehicles, and this is not just with public transport, right? Like, I mean, I've heard that apparently there are not just. I mean, I was pretty surprised to see electric buses, intracity and then intercity electric buses, which go a lot of distance, right? And then I was pretty surprised to see or hear about electric trucks, right? So, which are pretty heavy machinery, right? Heavy vehicles. So, when you think about electric, then you realize that now you can go electric in anything, right? You don't need other fuels like petrol, diesel, and whatnot. and gas and whatnot, you can do away with electric, so electric trucks, right? So I'm just wondering, like, what is the extent you can go? Electric trucks? Can you go electric trains? I mean, there are of course electric trains, of course, already. But in India, with metros, yeah. But I haven't seen that. I mean, of course, already I think trains are electric trains because we can actually see the electric wires on top. But I don't know if it's completely electric or if it has some fuel also. So there is electric trains already and trucks. I'm hearing about it. And then what else can you see? Electric planes? Can you use electricity and drive a plane completely without using any other fuel? I don't know. Maybe there are. I just don't know. And then rockets. You're using fuel. Can you just use electricity? I don't know. So, I mean, in rockets, you need fire and whatnot. You have a propulsion, you have all these fire and heat and whatnot. I don't know what's a propulsion. I shouldn't use terms I don't know. I've just heard these propulsion engine and whatnot, propulsion. But yeah, I mean, you need fire and all that, combustion and all that. But can you do away without it with just electric? I don't know. So, why am I surprised and excited with all this? Because so I work in an electric company. So a company which is very very popular for electric now. So I work in Ola in India. So Ola is an Indian company. It's a proud Indian company, and I'm proud to be actually an Olaian or a person who works in Ola and is part of the Ola's mission to do a lot of great things. So Ola has different sections. So I'm part of Ola Cabs, but we work a bit for other groups of Ola's companies. Basically, ANI is the parent company. It's like the group of companies, ANI group of companies. So it has Ola Cabs, and then we have Ola Electric, which is the electric division. For now, we're building electric vehicles, basically scooters. Next, we plan to build, we are already building motorcycles and auto rickshaws, electric. And the plan is to build, manufacture cars. And apart from Ola Electric, we also have Ola Silicon, or what we like to call as Ola Kritrim, which is a lot of things. So there is an AI part of things. In AI, we have basically artificial intelligence, we have software, basically large language models, and then we have what else? So we have basically cloud where we want to run the large language models, our own cloud data center, and then basically that's called Kritrim Cloud, Ola Cloud, and we plan to make it public. As of now, it will be private. It is already functioning and running, and we are actually catering to some customers. We are renting out GPUs for AI use case, GPUs of I think NVIDIA and Intel. And apart from cloud and language, basically software, hardware, the cloud, the data centers, and then we also plan to create GPUs of our own. Not exactly GPUs, we want to create actually GPUs are generic. They are used to create, do rendering, graphics, and stuff like that, also, and games and all. But we want to focus especially and specifically on artificial intelligence, where you do matrix multiplication, basically a lot of math. So we are focusing on, the popular term is, I think, or the term that a lot of people seem to know is, it's called Tensor Processing Unit, TPU. But we are going to call it, I think, compute units. So AI compute units or something like that, I think. So CU, basically compute units. So this will basically help you do matrix multiplication, and the idea is to bring this out in like in a good 2 years. So it's 2024, and 2026, 2027 we should have it, I think. So and we plan to do a B2B business of this. And then we have what, so yeah, I mean, there's electric, there is Ola Kritrim Cloud and all this. So we, if you look at it, we are actually competing with the likes of Google, who create all these GPUs and application specific chips, right? I think it's called ASC, application specific chips, or ASIC, application specific integrated circuits, right? And then Nvidia and then Intel, right? Basically in the chip business, but not exactly selling chips, but instead we are actually planning to lease out chips through our cloud. So we own the chips, at least that's the current plan, I think. So we own the chips, we manufacture them, and then we lease it and rent it out as a infrastructure as a service through our Ola Kritrim cloud, right? Apart from just providing Nvidia and Intel chips for now, which are like third-party chips, we will provide our own silicon stuff, right? So that's why the name Ola Silicon also, apart from Ola AI or Ola Kritrim. So the Ola Silicon is part of the chip manufacturing stuff. So where they build the chip, and they'll also build the firmware, and they'll also build the what do you say, device drivers for it, right? And there are people working on it, and I have actually interacted with some of them, and they are actually very, very passionate people who are very, very focused on getting things done with tight deadlines. Actually, I've heard talking about EV and all of this. So I spoke about like how we are competing with the likes of Google, Nvidia, and Intel and all. How Ola is competing there, and who are in the international market, and we are planning to get there. So we are very ambitious, and I love it. Maybe I shouldn't even call us very, very ambitious, because that sounds like we can't do it or all that. But yeah, we are at the starting stages, but I think we can do it. I mean, I'm sure we can do it. So ambitious is what I should just say, or like very forward thinking minded is what I would say, right? And we want to compete with them, and we want to actually just be the masters of our own destiny as usual, right? And we are just creating future, and we're not looking for it. So that's the idea of Ola. If you're looking for the future, stop looking, make it. So and as part of EVs, I wanted to tell that there are a lot of companies making electric autos, right? Auto rickshaws. For example, Piaggio is doing this, and then I think Bajaj is also doing this, and then there's a company called Montra, and a lot of car companies are doing electric vehicles, creating electric vehicles, and there are already a lot of motorcycle companies creating electric motorcycles, right? I think one of them is called Revolt, and then I have noticed one more here in Bangalore. I forgot the name. I'm gonna get the names and put it, say, in my YouTube description, or create a separate video just talking about the names of all these, so that people just can research about these. And then car companies like Hyundai, Tata is creating a lot of Tata Punch EV, Tata Tiago EV, and all that, right? And then Tata Nexon EV, of course. I think that was the first ones, or probably Tiago was first one. So and there is so Hyundai has some of them, I think, some one or two of them. And companies like Morris and Garage, MG, have some small EV vehicles, and probably bigger ones that I haven't noticed yet, right? So a lot of EV vehicles out there, and I'm sure, I think the international companies already have enough EVs. Like Morris and Garage, I think, is international. I don't know about Jeep and all, if they have any, and if they do, I just haven't seen it yet, right? Or I just don't know about it. And what else? I think, of course, you know about Tesla. I'm guessing BMW and others have some EV cars I just don't know about, right? And there are even motorcycles by BMW, so maybe they could be EV based also. I don't know. I just don't know yet. So yeah, a lot of EV vehicles out there, and a lot of AI models out there, a lot of chip making companies out there. I mean, I maybe apart from Intel and Nvidia and Google, there must be even AMD making chips and whatnot, right? Other companies. So we are competing with all of these people, building electric vehicles, and building chips for AI computation, and pretty cool stuff. And we are also building LLM, basically large language models, and we are also building clouds, basically competing with the likes of Amazon Web Services, Amazon Cloud, AWS, and then Azure Cloud by Microsoft, and then Google Cloud Platform by Google, and so many other cloud services out there, right? So it's a very big market, mostly owned by the big three, these three cloud companies. A lot of the market share is, owned by them, or they have the market share, and then it's all scattered, I think. But some of the popular companies are DigitalOcean and whatnot, other companies, and then same for EV vehicles, right? A lot of small companies, scattered market share, I think. But the popular ones are, like, for example, in two wheelers, it's Ather, and then there is, I think, TVS iQube and all is popular only. And then I don't know what else is out there. I just forgot. There are more, and then of course there is Ola's EV. And though a lot of people say that they don't like the Ola's EV, or some, I've even heard some people say they don't like the Ather's EV. Some people have said, like, told me that Ather's EV looks good, but Ola's EV is better, right? And they, especially these are people who own the Ola S1 Pro, which is like the high-end model of Ola's EV, and there are new generations and whatnot. And Ola is also building maps, actually, which is part of the Ola Cabs thing. And we recently started using Ola Maps in our Ola Cabs application instead of using Google Maps. It was a big decision that was taken 2 years ago itself, but then we waited, I think, 2 years for this day and time for us to switch. It was not like suddenly one day our boss just decided to use Ola Maps. So we have been building and making Ola Maps better. There's a lot of hate on Ola. Um, and I mean, uh, like, people talk about different angles. For example, Ola EV is not great. People, the scooter is not great. We didn't get the scooter delivered, or the scooter service is not great. It takes a lot of time to get the service done, takes many days and whatnot. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how true and whatnot this is, but I think it's a still, budding company. We're still trying to. It's still a startup. I believe that Ola is a startup, though one could say that it's a decade-old company. But how I see it is, basically, we are still creating large impact with a small number of people, and that means it's a startup, right? For the kind of impact that we're creating, and for the kind of impact that we plan to create, and with the number of people that we have, I think it's still a startup. Apparently, so usually people in vehicle manufacturing companies, how they sell vehicles, manufacturers, what they do is they give it to the dealers who distribute, right? So it's kind of like distribution, and it's like resellers or redistributors or whatever, not resellers, but distribution, right? So dealers are given the vehicles and then they just sell it off, and there is some commission that you have to give the dealers and whatnot, I think. But Ola has decided to not go down that path. I think that's what I heard from the finance team working on this side of things, for good or bad. But this is the thing, and so they take care of all the delivery. They own the, basically, all the centers, like showrooms, because usually when you go to a showroom, say for Yamaha or for Hero or Honda or whatever, right, or for some car company or whatever, it's actually the showroom of a dealer, right? So, and something like, say, for example, for Maruti Suzuki, the luxury dealer like Nexa and all that, right? I think they even customize stuff to make it more luxury based and all. I don't know how, or in what ways and what how that works and all. But in case of Ola, they own the experience centers, I think, or at least they are renting it out and they own the whole thing. It's not some dealer, and I think the best part is you can actually control a lot of how customers perceive you. The only hard thing being you need to scale and do it. We do have a lot of experience centers of Ola now in India, and we do have a lot of service centers also. We keep opening many, and we are also planning to keep open up and install a lot of you know charging stations. So it's going to be a bright future and sunny day for Ola looking forward. So a lot of complaints are being taken care of, and we are also looking at how to provide a better battery. We have a battery innovation center where we are building our own battery, and we are having a factory to we are building a factory called Giga Factory to actually build a gigawatt based. I mean, I think it'll produce a gigawatt amount of energy, like that much amount of batteries. That's why the name gigawatt. I don't know per how much time per hour or what, but gigawatt is the aim. So it should be able to build that much battery, that much batteries that have that much what do you say power, gigawatt, right? So these batteries are what are being used as batteries in our Ola scooters, and we also have a future factory, I mean, which is a factory for what do you say? Uh, Sorry, for a moment I blanked out. Someone was texting me. So we also have a factory which is for basically manufacturing scooters or EVs, and I think we'll probably manufacture most of there, or we might have more factories to manufacture the auto rickshaws and the motorcycles and whatnot, right? And it's actually a fully woman based factory, so everyone is a woman, and the whole plant is actually run by women. So it's a pretty cool thing, cool stuff. And Yeah, I mean, we are doing a lot of great things, though a lot of people might hate Ola. The reality is, Ola is trying to do a lot of good things. The vision and the idea of our boss or our like we all love Bhavish Agrawal, so we call him BA. So Bhavish, his vision for India is pretty big. He believes in Viksit Bharat. For like 2047, what are we doing? What is our contribution? So we are trying to actually use technology and improve the GDP of India. So usually GDP and per capita income and all that. So it's all pretty low compared to places like USA or China and all. So the per capita income is, I think, the average money earned by some person, the earned as an income by someone, and it's pretty low compared to, I think, China and US. I think we are like some 20x lower than them or something, right? Which is pretty sad or bad, right? So according to Bhavesh sir, I think he says that, like, we can improve things with technology. You can do more with less when it comes to technology. By default, things will increase at a 8% rate, like GDP and all, but we can improve that to 12%. We can make that curve better, the graph better, and to do that, we all have to put in our effort. And I know a lot of people who talk about Ola being a bad company, even in terms of like employment, how they treat their employees and all. I think they're just a very serious company. If you're not really doing your work well, if you make mistakes, we are in a state where we can't afford much mistakes, right? So if you make mistakes, they are very serious people. So hiring, firing, and all is very normal, I think, over here. So they are very serious people. They are very serious about what they do and what they plan to do, and they are very serious about their mission, vision. So they want to do big things and create big impact. And one might see that they're just very much into monetary benefits, but then it's not just that, I think. So I believe in their words, and I can see that we are building a pretty big future. I don't care if we lose or win, basically succeed or fail. I think we would have learned a lot in the future by doing this, right? And I am looking forward to basically succeed by doing this again and again, regardless of how many times I fail and the company fails, right? So yeah, I mean, people who are really, really ambitious can actually consider joining Ola and like be part of this ambitious thing. And Yeah, I mean, a lot of people are like, hey, there's a lot of pressure, a lot of work, no, say appraisals, not enough money being paid, not enough salary, not enough hikes and all that. I mean, I don't know the reasoning behind all this, but one thing I can say is this, right? Like, it's a startup. No matter how much money the company has, they still have to reserve money and start, using up money in a very judicious manner. It's a startup, so and you need money, enough money to build stuff and to be able to pay people. You can only pay so much, and sometimes you'll have to make some strategic moves, and sometimes pay some people more. No other go. For example, people from other countries come to Ola and they work from Bangalore. I think they must be getting paid a lot, but that's the cost that you have to pay them, because or else they would rather just work in some US company where they get paid a lot more, right? And they would rather stay there, right? So you do have to pay a lot of money for talent and for expertise and whatnot, and experience and whatnot, right? So for niche, right? And so yeah, I mean, it's going to be hard. It's a hard thing paying salaries to employees. How do you pay your employees in a very, what do you say, fair manner, right? Generally the world is unfair, so you really, it's hard to find a fair algorithm to be able to give salary to everyone in the company, especially when you have so many people in the company. It's hard to evaluate the value that one brings to a company, to a team, and all that, and to be able to pay them fairly. And every company is a lot of people. It's not just one person, right? If it's one person, it's easy to say. It's easy to actually summarize. Even with one person, it's hard to summarize. You can't summarize one person as bad or good. It's hard, right? They do a lot of things. You can probably specifically say some things, some activities, some behaviors as bad or good or whatever, right? Some actions as toxic or whatever, and some actions as good deeds. But then when it's a company, it's a lot of people, or like when there's an entity, it's a lot of people. When there's a group of people, be it a company, an organization, an institution, a political party, or whatever, right? People easily say, they connect a big entity to one person. Let's say in case of Ola, they'll connect it to Bhavish Agrawal and just say he's bad or whatever, right? Or he's I've heard very bad things about him, but I don't think these people have actually been with him very closely to be able to say all that, right? Like he is, I've heard stuff like he's psychotic and whatnot. I'm like, how do you know? Like he is such a big person, and I don't know whatever they say is true or not. But then, first of all, to be able to say something about someone, they have to be able to be with them and have traveled a journey with them and lived with them, right? To be able to actually comment on someone. But then, so yeah, I mean, people look at a company, and then some people's deeds, say some person in some team did some bad deed, and then that causes a bad name for the company, probably. That's all, right? So it's just, company is just a group of people, right? Sometimes there are some bad actions, sometimes there are politics and whatnot. Wherever there's people, there's politics and whatnot, right? So no company, no person is perfect. So, and then when you have so many people in a company, and then you can't really summarize the whole company is good or bad. It's like the company has many faces. For example, Ola has a Ola Foundation that does a lot of good deed, right? So I mean, you'll have to look at it like, I mean, you'll have to look at it like, okay, so it's a company, it has a lot of facets. Look at the good deeds of the company also. For example, I work in Ola, and nearby there is Accenture. Accenture company, everyone talks about how Accenture is a very basic company, or they don't pay enough, and it's like a very herd-based mentality. Like a lot of people get recruited by Accenture. There are so many people in Accenture. It's a very big company. It's a global company, right? Accenture, even Tata, TCS is a global company. Actually, I got to know it very later. I thought it's only there in India, but it's there in other countries also. And Tata is like global properly, though it's very popular in India and originated from India, right? So, and there are so many other companies. For example, Wipro. I think it's there in other countries also. Accenture, Wipro, the CTS, right? Cognizant basically. So many companies. For example, I am in an IT park where it's actually mostly leased by Accenture and then they subleased it to Ola. Accenture, I can see so many disabled people actually going into Accenture working there. I'm like, wow, okay, so you have a lot of respect for the company, right? Like you're like, okay, so Accenture is actually trying to give a lot of chance to a lot of these people who would be straight away considered unable to work because they are disabled. They can't use their hand, they can't use their legs or something like that, right? So, but the reality is these people are very much able and not probably, most probably very much more able than other people, because there's also this idea that if you are, say, blind, your other senses, say hearing, smell, and all that is more powerful, right? Similar to that, if you're like physically disabled, you have some like better cognitive abilities than based on that. Like it's like one, so I think it's like just human stuff, or I don't know what, or it's this evolution. Like how if you are at a disadvantage in one area, you are at an advantage in some other area, right? So, and I have a lot of respect for Accenture now that like when I see, wow, so much opportunity given to people who are disabled, which I have not seen. Like I have not seen so many disabled people all in a few months of time, all working in the same company, right? So it's pretty cool. It's pretty awesome. So I am like just like in awe. So I have a new found respect for Accenture, and I have a lot of respect for Ola. Though there are some bad sides to it that people see, that may or may not be true. I don't know, but we are trying to go do better. We are trying to get better. For example, even with service centers, I think we currently have our own service people only, right? Usually, service and distribution and all is are through dealers and whatnot, right? Because you can only scale so much, and you just do the manufacturing of your scooter and give away to the dealer, and then they take care of distributing and selling, and some service people, some dealers who take care of service and all. But then we take care of it all. The best part is we can control a lot of things in this case, but it also comes with its own downsides. For example, a lot of people buy, I think, Maruti Suzuki cars and Hyundai cars because you can easily find any serviceman or service person who knows how to deal with and how to service a Maruti Suzuki or a Hyundai car, because these are popular cars. I don't know if you can easily find service people for Kia. Kia is a sister company of Hyundai, but still, and then Kia, Toyota, Chevrolet, or I don't know, Ford. Ford is not even manufacturing now in India, I think. So it stopped manufacturing in India, I think. I don't know about Chevrolet also, and then Renault, right? All these you might find service people. Will they be very well versed with these cars and their parts and whatnot and how they work? I don't know, right? Of course, there might be some generic way these cars work, but then still, right? So, yeah, I mean, with Ola, I think the idea is you will have to then train more service people and hire more service people and whatnot. And if you want to scale, you'll probably have to train other service people, right? And give them incentives to actually quickly service Ola scooters, right? So it's not an easy thing. And I mean, people keep complaining about all these scooters. I think one thing that I noticed, which is a great thing about EV and other stuff, is that people keep complaining about how um, the petrol costs are going high up. They talk about the political parties which are in power, and they bash the political parties, talking about how the cost of petrol is going high up and whatnot. Well, there are electric vehicles now. We should probably start looking at the new stuff, start using electric vehicles and see if they can actually help us. I'm sure they can help us, and understand the disadvantages and look at how you can actually improve that. Help companies and are actually building the electric vehicles and help them improve the disadvantages in EVs. And you can forget about petrol and diesel costs going higher up, and you can focus on, say, electricity and how to produce electricity, And Ola as a company is looking at basically energy itself, and it's trying to become a proper energy based company and use technology and use energy efficiently. And Bhavish sir seemed like he recently spoke within the company. He was talking about how hydrogen, CNG, and all, like it's tricky. It has its own disadvantages and whatnot. So electricity and the grid is like the best, is what he was talking about, and he knows a lot. Of course, he is the owner of this company, and he owns Ola Electric, and he has learned enough to actually understand this whole space, and he's pretty knowledgeable. And I think Ola as a company is really rightly like placed to be able to solve these problems, because actually, according to Bhavesh sir, we are a technological company, and we are innovative, and our execution is really fast. All the three things: innovation, technology, and execution. We are good at all of this, right? We are a technology company, we are an innovative company, we always keep innovating, and our execution is really fast. Deadlines are pretty small usually. A lot of people cry about it, but then you as a company, when you're trying to compete with so many other companies like Aether, Google, Nvidia, and whatnot, in electric space, in AI space, in LLMs space, in cloud space, in what do you say, in chips space, with Intel and AMD and whatnot, and maps space and all, location space, you have to be able to do things fast, or else you will just be always be behind the others. So you'll have to go really fast as a startup when you want to actually compete with others and try to get the market share, right? So, or else they'll always be ahead. They will always be ahead if you don't go fast. So the only thing that you have in hand is speed. And usually, like my previous founder, and I used to work in this company called Thogai, they used to talk about how speed is your strength as a startup, right? You won't have enough money as the big companies. You won't have enough people and talent as the big companies. They might have researchers, scientists, and whatnot, but you do have speed in on your side. As a small company, you can move fast, right? And even if you're a big company, you try to move as fast as possible, right? So Ola is just trying to do that, is trying to move as fast as possible, and innovate as much as possible, and use technology everywhere, anywhere, right? So yeah, I mean, we are rightly placed to be able to actually manufacture EVs, and we get a lot of data around like how the EVs work and whatnot, and we can use it to actually improve the EVs. We are a very much technology-based company, so we feed back all the data, that problematic data and good data and whatnot, and understand and analyze the data to understand how the EV is performing and whatnot. And we build our own OS for the electric vehicle, the scooter, and it's Android based, and we build it on our own. And well, all the parts and all the software for the scooter is built on our own. So I've heard companies like Aether, what else, Ford and whatnot, actually give away or outsource their software part to companies like, I think, Electrobyte. I think that's what it's called, or Electrobit. So basically, they build electric control units, ECUs, vehicle control units, and whatnot. Basically, units and software and tools and technologies and frameworks and whatnot, and systems for managing electric vehicles, and configuring and whatnot, right? And basically anything like uh, vehicle related, they deal with that. So if it's an electric vehicle, they basically have a lot of software around it, and they basically sell that. So and that software interfaces with the hardware of the vehicle. So instead, we are building it on our own. Pros, cons. Pros is we own the whole thing right now. We have a lot of like leverage. We don't have to say, for example, if Electrobit one day say wakes up and says, "Well, pay me so much more because you are actually earning so much more," then we'll have to give a lot of our share to Electrobit, right? But if we build it on our own, we actually have a lot of power on our own hand, right? We control a lot of things, right? Than them controlling and having a lot of leverage. The only downside is they probably have a lot of years of experience with maturity and whatnot. And we just started a few years ago, like 4 or 5 years ago, and it's fine. We'll get there. It's a trade-off, right? I think same thing goes with Ola Maps, right? We were paying Google Maps a lot of money, right? And we saw an opportunity. And for example, our electric vehicles go around everywhere, and we have Ola cabs So a lot of drivers using our Ola, mobile app, we know how a lot of data is like how where the drivers are going, and where the EVs are going and whatnot. Basically, some stuff we have the data, and we are like, okay, we are very well positioned to be able to actually create maps. So we are creating maps, Ola Maps. So we are already using it, and I'm looking forward to actually contributing to Ola Maps because I already contribute to Google Maps, and I'm a proud contributor of Google Maps. I want to become so I'm already a local guide in Google Maps. I want to become a local guide in Ola Maps. And Ola Maps, we are also building it for India. I mean, it's like the one of the biggest populations in the world. And if we can solve for India, I think we can probably just solve for anything. Probably China might be a bit harder, but that's all. Every other place should just be easy. If we are allowed to solve, we will be able to solve. Like if China says no, you can't actually get into our country, and we won't allow you to do things, then we can't. But then I'm just saying that if we solve for India, we have just solved for the world, most parts of the world, right? So if we have solved, I mean, we are already getting there. So yeah, solving location and solving geospatial data and problems. If we solve it here in India, I think we just have solved it for the world. Because India is like one of the biggest population and a lot of transportation going on, and a lot of people, big area also, not very small area. So yeah. And yeah, I mean, we are also building with a lot of Indian specific features. One thing about Google Maps is people cannot actually like request features from Google and just get it right there. But then from Ola, you can actually request features. And Ola being a startup, and Ola being like in a position to actually accept requests and look at requests and be able to be like, okay, we are getting feedback, let's actually use this to build this new feature. So we can actually quickly build features. We have a lot of power, and we are also building it for India, very specific. For example, uh, so all like Google Maps, I don't think it has traffic signal data and all, where traffic signals are there and whatnot. In Ola Maps, we can actually see where traffic signals are there and whatnot, and so we can customize a lot of things and do a lot of things. We may not be there where Google Maps is there, but then we'll soon reach there, and we'll be getting better. So yeah, I mean, and we are already providing Ola Maps for free for developers and whatnot, and it's going big scale, large scale. A lot of developers are starting to already use it, right? A lot of companies are already starting to use it, and we are giving a lot of incentives. We are giving it away for free for now, for 1 year or so, and people are trying it out, and we're getting a lot of good feedback, right? So building Ola Maps, building, I mean, given that we are a Ola Cabs service, brokerage service for transportation, we know how much vehicles are needed on a day-to-day basis to transport people. We know what locations are actually crowded and what are the maps and whatnot. So we are kind of the best company to provide brokerage service already, and to build EVs, EV scooters and whatnot. So EV motorcycles, cars and whatnot, and rickshaws, auto rickshaws and whatnot, and also build maps. So we are like very well positioned to do these things. So yeah, I mean, and yeah, we are also doing Ola AI, which is like a totally new space. And yeah, I mean, Bhavesh sir is looking forward to a day like where, apart from me mentioning, like I was talking about how buses and whatnot, I asked him recently, I'm looking forward to seeing buses and whatnot and trains and whatnot, and like Ola getting into that. And then he was like, yeah, we'll get there. It's still day one. And how about you also think about cases where you have a self-driving two-wheeler or a pod with two people or one person? Basically, I think this is a classic case of like in future movies you see how there is like a small ball-like pod, and then where one person gets into it and then it just self-drives, right? Because currently you have two people in two-wheelers. One person is a driver in case you are renting the whole service, and the other person is going for the ride. So you just can transport one person. But then if you have a pod, then you can actually transport one person, and you don't even need a driver. You can just automate the whole thing, and you don't need to hire drivers. You can just easily scale it up with just technology. You just need money to build stuff, that's all. And for software and hardware, right? And you can also transport two people, and instead of having one driver, you can have two riders and self-driving, right? And people who don't know to drive can also just go easily, right? And yeah, I mean, and it's easy to scale and whatnot, and it's pretty cool stuff. I'm looking forward to a day where we have pods where this can go on, and self-driving delivery pods and whatnot, which actually comes and delivers your food, and you just type in some pin code, or you tell in some pin code, or like authorize yourself, authenticate and authorize yourself, and then it opens up the box to give you your food, right? So pretty cool stuff I'm looking forward to. So yeah, and Ola is also doing Ola Foods, which is actually an ONDC based thing, and also Ola other stuff like what do you say, groceries and whatnot. So yeah, you can check it out. So yeah, we are doing a lot of stuff. So yeah, I just wanted to talk about EVs and the next generation of stuff. So I think we should just stop crying about petrol prices and diesel prices and other stuff, and probably try out EVs and look at how we can actually use EVs ahead. At least try it out just because it's new. Try it out, experience it, and have a good judgment about it, instead of just shying away from using EVs, right? And of course, welcome new technologies, welcome new stuff, and see how it goes. At least you gave it a try if you still don't like it. But I look forward to evolving all the EV space, the Ola Maps space, and AI space, Silicon space, and cloud space, and also the whole battery space and whatnot. So yep. So yeah, I mean that's all I had for this video. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.